The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 4 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 3 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 2 minutes. Follow the show on Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app and be a part of the show via the live interactive chat room. You can text your thoughts to 404-902-8104. Check out the Facebook live stream at facebook.com/OneMicWithBigMike. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 1 minute. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 30 seconds. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2.
One mic.
I'm back. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Live.
There ain't no goddamn tape.
Interactive and on demand. One Mic. Yeah, a sports show.
The best move of LeBron's career, man, was dragging his sweaty ball sack right across Draymond Green's the nape of his neck and getting that dude suspended.
And so much more.
What's going on right now with Donald Trump? This is America, and it tickles me to death when white people are so shocked and appalled by it.
What? It's the One Mic with Big Mike show.
Of course, it's like anything, like ammonia or you sniffing glue is gonna get you high.
You've been warned. The One Mic with Big Mike show starts now. Here he is.
He's real cocky, he's real loudmouth, he's real flamboyant. He don't cow down to people.
Big Mike.
Hump Day. Y'all know what it is, man. Hump Day here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Appreciate you joining me here on a Wednesday. Broadcasting live right now via Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Also on TuneIn. And you can also catch me on the One Mic with BigMike.com website. Streaming live on Facebook. I switched it up a little bit today. Streaming on my personal page, as well as on the One Mic with BigMike.com page. So going over there to Facebook, check me out at One Mic with Big Mike. Give me like the page and follow me on the page or whatever you do. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the same handle, One Mic with Big Mike, spelled at the number 1 MICWITH BIGMIKE. If you want to get involved in the show, and I do suggest that you do, holler at your boy via the text message at 404-902-8104. I still got this congestion going on, man. It's freaking killing me, man. I'm a terrible, terrible sick person. You can also, of course, leave your comments and questions and criticisms and whatnot below the streaming video here on Facebook. Or you can jump on inside my live interactive chat room here on Spreaker.com, Spreaker, or Spreaker has an app, so make sure you download that for your mobile device so you can take me with you wherever you go. All you got to do is click that little thought bubble icon you see on the streaming player. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room. I do ask that you click the little heart icon as well as those share icons. Share me, man, on Twitter, Facebook, Google Play, or Google Plus, I guess, with all your friends and everybody. Let them know, man, I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock. All right, as far as today's show go, it's Wednesday, so we got to get everybody ready for fantasy football. We got the Packers and the Bears tomorrow, Thursday Night Football. So it's time to get those lineups set. And as usual, my main man from the sporting news, Matt Lutovsky, is going to join me. And we're going to get your questions answered, get your lineups intact, tell you who to pick up on the waiver wires and things of that nature. You can get your questions in right now. Start getting your questions in at 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104. Like I said, you can drop them in here on Facebook or via the live interactive chat room. He's coming up at 8 o'clock. So at the bottom of this hour, I do my regular feature on this day where I give you guys some historical tidbits and factoids from the world of sports. Get you guys some education. It ain't just about me being a loudmouth and screaming into this microphone. I try to, give you guys some information that you might not otherwise get. As far as show topics, man, we got a bunch of stuff to chew on today, man. We got to still obviously talk about what transpired over the weekend in the NFL, around the world of sports, due to the orange demon in the White House. Bunch of stuff going on with the NCAA. One of my favorite topics, when the NCAA hoes get smashed, and this time it's by the Fed, so it's about to go down real crazy. There's a downside, of course, like there is to a lot of things in this, and we'll dive into that a little bit more as well. Like I mentioned, we got football tomorrow. We got a college football game tomorrow, so we might hit on that a little bit. Dwayne Wade is officially now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know how I necessarily feel about that. I think Dwayne Wade he was something special, and now he's just that guy. Like I mentioned on Monday, he's just he's doing what you guys always criticize athletes for doing, or people, especially in basketball, ring chasing or whatever. And I think that's what he's doing. And like, look, I don't fault him. He ain't got a lot of time left, for one. So why waste it on a bad team, especially when you got your money right? I think he's going to make $2-something million this year. He had to give up $8 million to get bought out by the Bulls. You got your money right. You got a woman who's making crazy money. She's a regular. She got a regular show, regular steady acting gig. So yeah, you know what I mean? Chase the things you want to chase. Am I frozen here? I think I'm frozen. I do believe I'm frozen. My video is frozen. How you love that? I'll see if I can get that rectified here in just a second. But first, I want to start, man. I want to start by talking about, what's going on here with this protest stuff, man. If you can see the title of the show, it's over, man. To me, it's done. It's been watered down, whatever terminology you want to use, watered down, whitewashed. It's been bastardized. It's at a point really right now where everything that once was is no more. And this is why, man. This is why my people who listen to this show have heard me say at the very, very, very beginning, when Colin Kaepernick met with Nate Boyer, the former long snapper, the kid that was a Green Beret, is a Green Beret or whatever. The minute it was on some old, don't kneel or don't sit, kneel. I was like, it's over, man. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that the people that you're protesting, and I don't mean him as a military person, I mean the people who don't understand what you're doing, they don't get to make the rules, man. They don't get to tell you or anyone how to do what you're doing the right way. The way you did it at first is how you felt it should have been done, so you should have done it that way. But see, what ends up happening is once you make the move to compromise, well, then everyone that follows you, everyone behind you will then try to find their easy way out as well. You know what I mean? It'll go from that to, well, I'll just throw my fist up. Or we'll go from that to, we'll lock arms. It'll go from that to, well, I'll just put my arm around the dude that's actually kneeling. Nah, man. Like, stupid people don't get to make the rules. You feel me? It just can't happen that way. So then you go from an extreme act of defiance and something that's going to definitely make people feel comfortable or uncomfortable, excuse me, to saying, okay, I'll tone it down a little bit and maybe you'll feel better, because a knee is in a lot of cases a sign of reverence. But when it comes to racist people, and when it comes to rich black men not doing exactly what they want them to do, there is no compromise. It just doesn't work that way. And of all the things, man, that I said Colin Kaepernick did absolutely positively right, I felt like that was a misstep. I felt like bowing to that pressure was something that should not have happened at all. Because now it led everyone to where we are now, where you got this stupid ass human being who, for some reason, the universe has decided to put him in the highest position in America. He is the one that sparked some sort of fake consciousness in all these players who at one point before had none, apparently. Him calling them sons of bitches. It was like, oh, okay, hold on now. I'll show you how much of a son of a bitch I am. I'm going to kneel now. Doesn't matter anymore, because you're not doing it for the right reason. And I'm saying right reason. You're not doing it for the reason. From its inception, the whole protest was based around police brutality. Colin Kaepernick spoke of income inequality. He spoke of mass incarceration. He spoke of real, tangible issues that are facing people who look like him in this country. They ain't never had nothing to do with the flag. Maybe in an auxiliary type of way, because he did mention that he can't stand for that flag or that song that doesn't represent him. It doesn't represent me. And you guys have heard me say it many a time on this show, man. Like, respect is a two-way street. You don't just get it because you're somebody voted you president, so I have to respect you. People say you have to respect the office. You a lie? You telling a damn lie. I don't have to do nothing. Because you're old, you have to be respected. No, you can be an old dumbass too, and I don't have to respect none of that. That's a commodity that needs to be earned at every turn, man. And if you don't earn it, you shouldn't expect it. This country has disrespected black people for centuries. And anytime black people have gotten mad enough to speak up about it, they get put into the position of being villainized. You can miss me with it, man. This is why, like, you don't need to feel comfortable with what someone's doing when they feel like they're being done wrong, because it's not you. There's a word that I saw today doing my reading, kept coming up, man. The word was empathy, or is empathy. And I feel like that's the thing that's missing. And I don't think it'll ever be present, in all honesty. I don't think it'll ever be present in this America, in this society. Because white people don't care. Like as I'm being very general and I'm painting with a very broad brush, but there's really no incentive to care. If you're the one who for so long has been benefiting from the system that is what it is, there's no incentive for you to care, like for real care. I saw something the other day. Somebody said Skip Bayless. It was a post that said Skip Bayless. I guess it was a quote from him that said, deep down inside, white people know that Colin Kaepernick is right. Wrong. Most white people's life experience is different than what Colin Kaepernick started protesting. This is why it's so hard to believe that the police, this is why the police go free. Like, if white people deep down inside felt that certain way, these juries would be putting these white boys who's killing these police that are killing these black kids, these black men, in jail. But it's hard for them to believe that the people that they call for protection would also be the people who were terrorizing a certain group of people in this country. So no, I don't buy that for a damn second, man. And so now we have Sports Illustrated today. If you look at the artwork for this particular show, came out with the magazine cover that has these athletes locking arms, and it's Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell's on the front line, cuz all of a sudden, just miraculously, my man Roger's on the front line. You feel me? Locked arms with Steph Curry. Steph Curry's locked arms with LeBron. And I look at this and I say to myself, this is the end. I think the title said separation in country, united in sports, or something like that, man. All this talk about unity and like, things don't have to be unified. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be for somebody to just look at you and recognize that you're a human being, that you're no longer property, able to be discarded and thrown away like trash. Things ain't got to be unified. I was talking to him. I remember, like, maybe sometimes last year, I was talking to my father-in-law about this, man. And I've spoken to other older black people than myself, people who lived through the civil rights movement. And one of the things that I find myself hearing is that there was a miscalculation. Always striving for inclusion. We want to be able to go to your schools. We want to be able to drink out of your water fountains. We want to be able to go into your bathrooms. Instead of saying, it's okay for this water fountain to say colored on it. But we want it to be the same as that one. So while y'all talking separate but equal, the only thing black folks was getting was separate. And the way they chose to combat it, and this is not me pointing a finger or blaming or anything, because you do the best you can with the information that you have at the time. And for their sake, they were doing what they thought was right. Most of these people who were out there marching, they were marching under the guise of being Christian, and everybody needs to love each other and all this whatever. So it made sense in that sense. But looking back now, retrospectively, I always tell a story, tell about that a documentary on Vice about the Southern Classic, the Bayou Classic, one of those classics, the band classics. And they showed an interview with the late coach Eddie Robinson. And this kind of stuff is in the book, The $40 Million Slave, as well. They asked him about integration and how he felt like it would affect Grambling University, because it was a time in this country where, black schools got all the athletes. Of course, segregation. Even like you look at the landscape of college sports now, professional sports, especially basketball and football. Is a reason it's made up of majority black men. That used to be what those people who you see going to the NFL every year in the draft, all those cats would have been going to these HBCUs back in the day. Well, problem was, there was a presumption that these kids would continue to go to those schools based on the fact that it's black. You know what I'm saying? We black, righteous, fist up. But the reality is, everybody wants better. And for the most part, I don't think you care where you get it from. When it's better, it's better. You know what I'm saying? So these white schools, they start pumping money into athletic facilities, and the schools start looking more like country clubs than universities. Meanwhile, got schools like Grambling maintaining the status quo. It's up until a couple of years ago, like kids was threatening not to play football because the facilities were so bad. Cats was getting like staph infections from the weight room and things of that nature. And from that, you see the downfall of a lot of the historically black colleges and universities. It wasn't all, I'll say this, it wasn't all because white people came in and poached the talent. There was no symmetry in what was being offered to, you got a guy like Mike Vick goes to Virginia Tech. But what if Howard or Hampton had the same facilities as a Virginia Tech? But then you could pull out your black pride thing then to kind of put it over the top. That's not the case. I don't believe. I've never been to Hampton or Howard, but I'm go out on a limb and say that Virginia and the ACC and Virginia Tech and the ACC or Big Ten or wherever they're at now, they have better facilities. They got a bunch of shiny stuff, brand new weight rooms and all kind of craziness. I'm not saying it's right. It's just human nature. You know what I'm saying? We're attracted to those shiny objects. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show here. First segment of the show on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Tune in, OneMicWithBigMike.com, and streaming live video on Facebook at One Mic with Big Mike. Get involved in the conversation at 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104, or jump on inside my live and interactive chat room here on Spreaker. Just click that little thought bubble icon. You'll be up in the building. You can also leave your comments and questions. Criticisms as well. Criticisms are also welcome. You can leave those right up under the live chat feed or the live video stream here on Facebook. I've gotten all the way away from my notes. I haven't even looked at the notes. I just started rambling because this is really bothering me over the last couple of days, man. Like watching CNN, just listening to people's takes on these things, and just realizing that we're talking about some very philosophical, fundamental differences in perspective when it comes to the two Americas, the black American experience and the white American experience. And that, my friends, is where the line of delineation is drawn, man. And I don't believe, and maybe I'm wrong for this, man, I don't believe I have to see the white perspective on this, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they not the ones on the YouTube videos getting blown away by the police. I don't think I have to see your perspective on that, man. Your perspective is that song and that song and that piece of cloth is important to you. My perspective is one day it could be me on the YouTube video. That's my perspective. So while you cherish your racist song and your BS flag, I'm talking about my life, B, and the men and women who look like me. Yeah, those things just don't correlate. They don't equate one another. You know what I'm saying? So now you got guys like and when I talk about like the bastardization, of this movement that was. I don't believe it is anymore. It was. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago to one of my guests. We got to stop calling it, man. We got to stop, or should have stopped a long time ago, allowing it to be called the anthem protest, because that's not what it ever was. It took place during the playing of a national anthem, but no one was protesting the damn song. That doesn't even make any damn sense. No one was doing that. The other thing was that should have never been allowed to be done was for it to be categorized, man, as politics. This isn't politics. This isn't Republicans and Democrats. This is an issue of life and death, man. This is an issue of I am a human being. My skin color shouldn't elicit fear in a white man with a gun and a badge, enough so where he would just kill me and then use that excuse to beat the rap. That can't be a thing. That's not political. And maybe I just don't understand politics then. One of the two things. Maybe that's what it is. I don't have a firm grasp on what politics actually is. But from where I stand, it's not, man. But it's easy to put it into that box. Because if I say politics, I can't also say sports in the same sentence. That's taboo. Because next month, in a couple days, you know what's going to be happening? All these big ass, grown ass, overly steroided men will be running around with pink on. You know why? For Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And that's a great cause, man. I'm not knocking the cause. But I always make mention that no one has a problem with that social issue. That's an issue that affects people's lives every day. Everyone knows someone who has experienced cancer in their life. But it shouldn't have to be a situation where everyone experiences the death by the hands of the people who are supposed to be protecting us, for then that to be acceptable. You'll have National Bullying Month, or then you'll have National Mental Health Month. But dare we talk about racial injustice. Dare that be a thing. That's where we draw the line at. That's where we got to start putting it into that category of politics. It's not politics, man. It never was. And as long as we as black people keep allowing people on the wrong side of these issues to hijack them and call it an anthem protest, because it matters. It matters what things are labeled as, because people are too lazy to think, to keep saying that this is politics, because people have been bred to not be able to chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. You feel me? I'm here to watch the football game. I shouldn't have to think about black people getting murdered by the police. None of those. Colin Kaepernick, Michael Bennett, Marshawn Lynch, didn't none of those people tell the NFL or any of these sports to start pulling out big ass 100-yard flags before a football game? See, if you was that concerned about just watching your football game, you know what you would have done? You'd have told the NFL a long time ago. You'd have told Major League Baseball a long time ago. You'd have told all these other sports a long time ago. Keep these damn planes from flying over these stadiums. Get this damn flag out of here. I don't want, because those flags are political as hell. But the thing the NFL did was trick you into feeling like they were patriots. Meanwhile, here's something for you, Gord. Your tax dollars was paying for that the whole time. This wasn't no good gesture. From 2009, the government was giving the NFL money to put on those shows of quote unquote patriotism by the millions. That's like somebody paying you to love your wife. Feel me? That makes her a prostitute. But just put that in your gourd and let it roll around for a little while. Idiots. But now all of a sudden, because your fat ass can get up off your seat, your fat drunk ass can get up off your seat for 45 seconds, you think that means you care about these men and women who are coming back from freaking from war and killing themselves 22 at a time every day? What have you done besides stand your fat ass up and take your hat off at a football game? What have you really done for that? Because now again, we talking about life. We're not talking about a flag, a piece of cloth. You know what I mean? We're not talking about a racist ass song. We're talking about people. These same people who you say you got to respect them, who can't get proper health care, who will go fight for your country and watch Congress give themselves raises and decline a raises for the people who are actually fighting. See, these are things that really happen, but they too strong. They too tough to actually chew on. So you swallow the idiot pill. That goes down real easy. The idiot pill of, look at these black guys disrespecting this country. They should. We all should. This country's never respected black people, man. Centuries I'm talking about. I ain't talking 2016, 17. I'm talking about 1800 and before. This whole notion that I have to respect something or I have to love something that don't love me, you can kiss my black ass. The whole two, cuz. What up, Big L? Big L's in the building. He's in my chat room, man. You guys can join him in there by clicking that little thought bubble icon you see. If you're listening via Spreaker, SPREAKER.com, or you got that Spreaker app on your phone, just click that little thought bubble icon. Get in on the conversation, man. I know it sounds like I'm going off, but like my frustration level is really up there. Hopefully I can get it all out today so that when I do my show on Friday, man, I'm a little bit better place to talk football and sports stuff and all this kind of stuff. You know, we got guys like Rashard Matthews, the wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. He's not going to stop kneeling until Trump apologizes. Who gives a rat's ass? This ain't about that orange bastard. But this is what's happened. These racist ass white people have pissed in the pool. And now everybody's out. No one knows what the hell is going on. You got Ray Lewis, and I'll get to him in the next segment. You got Ray Lewis on his convoluted, confused, ridiculous. I've been telling people for years, Ray Lewis is an idiot, man. But you know what Ray Lewis was? Ray Lewis was the dude with the preacher voice. And he was talking all this gibberish that you couldn't hardly understand what the hell he was talking about. And he had the little dance and the any dogs in the house foolishness. So you weren't trying to hear what he was saying. It just looked like it was crunk. Like one of these idiot kids. What did that little dude say? He's like, you don't even have to be able to rap no more. You just got to be turned up. I was like, all right, that sounds about right. You know what I mean? That's who Ray Lewis is. He don't have to make sense. He just sounds like that guy. You know, that dude on the corner that's always talking about people going to hell, the world's ending. He's that guy, but he got a Beijing taper and a tight ass suit on. That's all he is. We got to get to him. We got to get to Jerry Jones, because y'all heard my reaction on Monday watching this Jerry Jones foolishness live. And then when I got off the air and realized what happened, I was exactly correct in what I was saying. It was very, very stupid looking. It was very, very contrived and very, very massa-ish. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, watch me control my niggas. That's exactly what it looked like. And when I got off the air and saw what it was, and got on social media, it was, and you freaking bum ass idiots that want to give this dude credit. Oh yeah, boy, the movement goes on. Jerry kneeled. You better kiss my ass too. Every last one of y'all who ever thought that dude was doing anything on your behalf. Gotta be better, man. Y'all just gotta be better, man. That can't be a thing, man. If you don't know who's with you, I fail to believe how you know who's against you, man. I can't figure that out at all, man. How easily sometimes y'all get fooled. And he knew it too. God, like when I was looking at it, I'm like, look at this dude with this ish-eating grin on his face. Like, yeah, I got you, effers, man. I got you. He knew he did too. I got Matt Lutovsky coming up at the top of the hour, man. Get your fantasy football questions in now at 404-902-8104, 404-902-8104. You can also get them in on Facebook, at One Mic with Big Mike on Facebook. Just drop them under the live interactive, the live Facebook stream, or jump on in my live interactive chat room, my man. I am No Dose in the building. What up? Yes, Effer. I'm doing a show on Friday, so suck it. You can jump on in my live interactive chat room, man. Just click that little thought bubble icon, and I'll get your questions about your fantasy lineups over to my man, Matt Lutovsky, at the top of the hour. We'll come back with On This Day and continue this conversation because I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest. Ray Lewis as well. Continue with the Jerry Jones stuff and much, much more here on the One Mic with Big Mike show.
Well, I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Hey. Getting on over this hump, man. Appreciate y'all joining me, man. My man, I am No Dose, Big L, Bear, OJ Woods, Tom, Marlon, what up? I see you, man. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show, back here on a hump day, Wednesday. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, tune in, onemicwithbigmike.com. Don't forget, if you miss any of the show, it's available on demand on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube, and of course the stream is always up here on Facebook at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Use that same handle from my Twitter and my Instagram. You guys can chime in on the show, just like my man Marlon has here on Facebook, or you can text me at 404-902-8104, or hop on inside this live interactive chat room, man. Let's hop on over to the chat room real quick, man. My man Big L saying Ray mad at Shannon Sharp for what? Telling the truth. Unlike Ray Lewis doing murder. Yeah. Well, that's a thing. Like Ray, like people think people forget, man. Hashtag never forget. So we'll let me hit On This Day real quick, and I come back. And after I do this, I mean, not come back, but after I do this, we'll get into this Ray Lewis stuff, man.
Now, let's take a look back.
On this day.
All right, on this day in 1973, the boy Nolan Ryan of the California Angels struck out 16 batters for the Minnesota Twins. The feat established a modern-day single season mark of 383 strikeouts in a season. On this day in 1983, Larry Bird, he signed a 7-year contract with the Boston Celtics worth $15 million. That made him the highest paid Celtic in history. Dog, I think Steph Curry just lost that in his couch like 2 seconds ago. 7 years, $15 million. On this day in 1996, Barry Bonds of the San Francisco 49ers became the second Major League Baseball player to record 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases in the same year. 40-40 club. Who was the first, you ask? It's Jose Canseco. Steroids. Excuse me. On this day in 1988, Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals set a Major League Baseball record when he hit his 70th home run of the season. Sammy Sosa He ended the season with 66 home runs. Both players surpassed Roger Maris's record of 61. Steroids. Whew. On this day in 1998, Greg Vaughn, at this time of the San Diego Padres, hit his 50th home run of the season. It marked the first time that 4 players finished the regular season with 50 or more home runs. Steroids. Couple more here. 2000, on this day in 2000, Donovan McNabb of the Philadelphia Eagles signed a 12-year contract. God dang. When was Cats doing this? When was Cats signing 12-year deals that involved a $20.5 million signing bonus? The deal made McNabb the highest paid NFL player in history. Donovan McNabb signed a 12-year contract? That's weird, man. And finally, on this day in 2003, Javi Lopez, ATL, stand up, of the Atlanta Braves, became the first catcher to hit 42 home runs in the season. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your Hump Day edition of On This Day. All right. My man Big L asked for it. Well, he didn't ask for it. I said it. I mentioned it, and Big L kind of is moving it forward. This Ray Lewis situation, man. For those of you who don't know, Ray Lewis had a lot to say. He's had a lot to say about Colin Kaepernick and the way he chose to protest, telling him to stick to football, doing that whole thing. Let your play on the field speak for you, like there's something that he could do passing a football that would say, you know what, the way he threw that out route really makes me think about police brutality. Ray's an idiot. You know what I mean? If you like me to prove this point to you, just listen to this.
I'm a teammate. I'm a brother. Just so happened I'm not playing that game anymore. So the comments that Trump made or whatever this guy makes, no, I'm not offended by that.
Sure you're
because
not.
I'm not the one that's doing all that.
Because you're his man.
But I see so many guys and it's rage and every tweet and owners are tweeting and there are all these people are tweeting. And I'm like, really? So what does a leader do? What does a leader do? A leader leads. A leader doesn't go out and say, "Oh, I gotta." No, I looked at these young babies and I said, "I gotta do something that only God will understand."
God, he's a weirdo.
And I asked myself, what would Jesus do in a time of this chaos?
God, he's a weirdo. It's like he looked at his wrist, the little thing on his wrist, and was like, "You know what? What would Jesus do?" Yeah, dude, that dude's an idiot. He's a plumb idiot, man. There's some other stuff too from him on Inside the NFL last night. It was real long, and I did record it, and I was like, I'm not gonna play this whole thing. It was like 2 or 3 minutes long of him doing that whole preacher thing. Him and James Brown was going back and forth. And it's weird that he calls these grown. He's done this for so long. He called these grown men babies. That's who he's talking about, by the way. If you're not clear, he's not talking about actual children. He's talking about these grown football players, calling them babies. And they're all enraged. Why you ain't? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure you wouldn't all I don't know if you guys noticed, his son just beat a rape rap. It kind of flew under the radar. But yeah, Lil Ray Lewis Jr. Was he at Miami, I think? But he's transferred now. I think he's going to Maryland now. Or somewhere up that way. But yeah, he just beat a rape rap. I wonder how calm and prayerful my man was about that. He probably threw a couple dollars into making that go away, right? Making that go away. And I'm not saying the kid did anything. But real life is real life. Somebody got offended yesterday. Some dude got offended with me yesterday. Talking about I was coming at his religion. Whatever. None of that matters to me, dude. You know what I'm saying? Black folks been praying for hundreds of years. You know what I'm saying? And I keep telling y'all, man, like, I'm not the freaking, I'm not the freaking stay woke guy and all that kind of stuff, get woke or whatever people say. I'm not that guy, man. I just tell people, man, just ask the question, ask why, man. Like, if you're a Christian and you believe in all that, you ever ever ask yourself, why? Why do I believe this? There's a documentary, a PBS documentary. I think it's called Africa Before Slavery. Dr. Henry Louis Gates, very respected. You guys know him from all those, he runs the DNA on the celebrities and tell them where they come from in Africa. He's that guy. Very respected, man. And he did the documentary, I do believe it's called Africa Before Slavery. And it talks about how religion was used as a bartering tool in African kingdoms, man. Like, they didn't really care about it. Like, the leaders of these I don't know, tribes or whatever you want to call them was basically like, all right, if you let me be a part of the government that you guys got set up over there and we can establish trade routes, we'll conform to your religion. It was just that simple. It really meant nothing. But now, man, you MFers take that stuff so seriously. White man put you on a boat, drop your ass off in America, and then do what? Put a Bible in your hand, and now all of a sudden it makes sense? Like, how long, man? How long can you do the same thing expecting a different result? Well, we just gonna pray about it. In the words of the immortal O-Dog, black folks got too much damn religion as it is. Now, I hate to sound like that disrespectful dude, because I understand what the purpose of religion in a lot of people's lives are, and I ain't mad at it. But when you use that as your answer to, like, real problems, people's dying. These folks in Puerto Rico have had their whole lives washed away. And the best that anyone can do, pray for Puerto Rico. Didn't you pray for them after the first storm? Like, you prayed for them when Irma hit. And whoever you was praying to said, F you, I'm going to send Maria back through that joint to let you know that nothing you're doing works, man. None of that talking to yourself works. Do some tangible stuff, man. All you folks who want to be skeptical about the American Red Cross and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to tell you like this. From a very personal place, man, my wife, the woman who, for whatever reason, loves me, she's in Florida right now. She works for FEMA. She's down there stressed out. She's getting all sick because of it, trying to help people rebuild their lives, man. Help people get out of living in their cars and find them shelter. And it's a very bureaucratic thing that takes time. And it takes people who care, and like her. She cares, I think, sometimes too much. It affects her way too much. But that's who she is as a person. Like, she's doing something tangible to help people. And for those people who want to be skeptics about whether people are actually doing things to help, I can tell you from personal experience, from a very personal place, there are people who are trying to help these people, man. None of them include your president, by the way. Another story. He want to big up NASCAR and big up Jerry Jones and the hockey cats and all that kind of stuff. And tell you how hard it is to get to Puerto Rico, as though he got to walk to that joint. Well, it's an island. It's surrounded by water, whole lot of water. we know what an ocean is, cuz it's hard to get there. All right, B. It's cool. You know what I mean? I guess it ain't got nothing to do with the fact that they don't really have no voting rights. They don't participate in the electoral college and none of that kind of stuff. Got nothing to do with that, though, huh? Maybe it do. I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Again, man, I'm like all. I try to do this thing now where I take more organized notes, so I don't just start, especially in things like this, because I feel myself getting riled up, and I don't want to do that. I want to kind of be a little bit more even keel, man, so that because I don't like sounding all preachy and all that. But this kind of stuff, man, it's a problem for me, man. It's a problem. When white America, that's on the wrong side of a very important thing, get to make the rules. I've said this to my wife before, man, about us as black people. Like, we get proud of inventing trends. We're trendsetters, clothes, language, things that come and go. You know what white people invent? Rules. Like, in stone rules, man. Jim Crow and things of that nature. Things that no matter how much you think that they're gone, they can just remix them. Slavery, bet. Indentured servitude, apprenticeships, mass incarceration in 2017. Same thing called by a different name, pimp. Those are the things they develop. And we're expected to just deal with them. And for many of us, we have, there's black people, of course, that have burst through the ceiling and found themselves in a position of affluence and things of that nature. It don't make you any less of a nigga, though. And a lot of them, like my man Paul Mooney, shout out to Paul Mooney, man. You know what I mean? The nigga wake up call. It catches up. OJ, Bill Cosby. It catches up. You can be America's dad one day. Then America find out you was drugging white women. Uh-oh. Tiger Woods, wake up, nigga. You know what I mean? It comes. It'll come, man. So that whole idea, because again, that's what we talking about here with this NFL stuff. That whole idea with the money, the money some kind of the money some kind of way neutralizes your ability to see injustice, or should neutralize your way, the way you see injustice or racism. These football players should be grateful. Really, Massa? Really? They should be grateful. 2 weeks ago, Michael Bennett was face down on concrete with a gun to his head, and the man telling him he'd blow his brains out. That money didn't save him from none of that. So tell me again how grateful he should be. Yeah. And white people didn't want to believe it either. When my man wrote the letter, because remember, he wrote a letter first, and they was like, whatever, prove it. I don't see no video. Then the video came out. Then it was like, I don't see no gun to the head. Then the gun to the head was on the other video. Then it was, well, you can't hear what he's saying. All right. You keep on moving that goalpost, pimp. You know what I'm saying? But if 4 out of the 5 things he said was true, I'm just going to be inclined to believe the 5th thing is true too. That your man said he was going to blow his brains out. This is the millionaire athlete that you said should be grateful. You should just be, you should just be grateful for what it was. Michael Smith said something yesterday, man. I don't know if I've already said this today, but Michael Smith said something yesterday that was very profound. He does this a lot to me, man. Sometimes he'll say things that I'd be like, yep, I want to be able to say that way. You know what I mean? Because that's what I believe, but I'm not the most articulate dude in the world. He said about this Jerry Jones situation. For those of you who don't know, Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys played on Monday Night Football. They decided what they were going to do, or not they. I'm not going to do that. Jerry Jones decided what they were going to do was come out there, take a knee before the anthem started, then stand up with their arms locked, which now I'm calling the human shackles, that arms lock bullcrap that the Seahawks started last year when they first did that. Remember, they made that big deal of it, like, we got something planned for y'all on Sunday, and then they did that. I was like, man, middle finger, let's ride. That's nothing. That's just more whitewashing, bastardization of something that was supposed to be uncomfortable for the other side of the issue, for the people on the other side of the issue, the people who want to ignore the issue. We're going to lock arms, unity. You can keep your damn unity, man, because you don't have to be united with me to not kill me at a freaking police car stop, man, at a traffic stop. That's why I have all these problems with these police officers using these kids in the ghetto as photo ops. They got on their full uniform playing basketball in the hood. No, go do your job, cuz. Do that. You ain't got to play basketball and pass out ice cream in the hood. There's a big space in between that and killing Philando Castile in front of his old lady and his little baby. Whole lot of room. So anyway, Jerry Jones does that number, right? And then apparently his man called him this morning. Donald Trump called him this morning, was like, yeah, that's how it should be done. You can kneel whenever you want to, but stand up for that damn anthem. Get them boys and stand up for that damn anthem. And Michael Smith said this. He said, if Jerry Jones and Donald Trump are happy with what went down, you know it was done wrong. Yeah. It couldn't have been more perfectly said. If those two dudes find acceptance in what was done, everything was bad. Everything was bad. The other thing that went on, and don't forget I got Matt Lutovsky coming up in about 13 minutes. Matt Lutovsky from the Sporting News to get us ready for fantasy football. Give us a little break from all this real quick. 404-902-8104 is where you want to send your fantasy football lineup questions for my man Matt. And black people, stop thanking Donald Trump. I've seen way too much of that. Stop thanking him. He did nothing. If anything, he threw a freaking Molotov cocktail into the movement and made it about him. You just heard me say this kid from all these dudes is like, yeah, I'm going to show him Shady McCoy. All these dudes are just showing out for Donald Trump. They're not doing nothing. Because the one thing that separates Michael Bennett, Marshawn Lynch, Colin Kaepernick, Malcolm Jenkins, I will talk about the NCAA stuff. I am no those. I'm going to make a point to do it. As soon as I get through talking to Matt, I'm done with this. After I talk to Matt, I'm done with this NFL stuff. And I'm because this stuff with the NCAA is gonna go on for a little bit. we looking at a tip of an iceberg right now. B, you know what I mean? These couple brothers that's going to jail, and they probably gonna go to jail. Chuck Persons and them, yeah. It's gonna be more to come. Yeah, these shoe companies ain't just paid 4 dudes. But anyway, yeah, it's all about Donald Trump now. It's not about, I was mentioning that these people are not just sitting down for an anthem, man. These people are putting their resources back into building up people less fortunate than them. And like, to me, that is where the attention should be drawn to. You know, these athletes they have resources at their disposal. You know what I mean? More than the average man. And for these 3 guys in particular, 4 guys, I should say, to commit to using those resources to help people in those situations where they could be profiled and abused by the police. I think that's the bigger point to be made. It ain't just about you kneeling, locking arms and all that. Which, by the way, Aaron Rodgers wants the people in Green Bay at the game tomorrow to join them in locking arms for the pledge. This is why. Bastardized, whitewashed. It is over. The man has taken over. For all the people who said it'll be so much better when the white boys get involved. Ain't nobody telling them to fall in line, though. Y'all just let them do their thing. Remember when I was talking about that? When I was telling y'all was giving Chris Long all this credit for just touching his teammate during the anthem, and this other boy from wherever, where was it? From Oakland. He just touched his teammate during the anthem, and like that was enough. No, you got either something to stay the hell away, or get them to fall in line all the way. Because that's who I am. That's why I don't F with y'all on these things, man. That's why I don't F with y'all on this NFL boycott. You don't find me in the streets marching when stuff happens, because I'm the type of dude that I'm in. When I'm in, I'm in. And when people start flaking, I get offended, B. When people start like, oh, well, yeah, I ain't gonna sit down. I'm gonna kneel, or I'm gonna lock arms. You gonna make me want to fight you now. Be in or be out. When Cam Newton was all like, remember Cam Newton was on some, well, who am I to say Colin's right or Colin's wrong or whatever? Shut up right there. Don't say another damn word. Either be in or be out. You straddling that fence, the next move is your nuts. That's why I don't mess with none of this stuff, man, because people are so fickle, man. And everybody wants to be able to make everyone else so comfortable. No, man, in certain situations, man, people deserve to be uncomfortable. In America, white people white guilt should be a thing. Like, I'm not embarrassed by saying that. You should feel guilty, man. Somebody said the other day, I think somebody posted on social media that they never give money to white homeless people because they can't understand how you can be white and poor in America. It was so ridiculous, but ignorant and funny. You got DirecTV out here telling people they can get their refunds. How's that a thing? Dude, I just canceled my Comcast. And no reason would be good enough for them not to hit me with that damn early termination fee. But all of a sudden now, if you disagree with some football players protesting systematic racism, you can just cancel it whenever you want to. Boy, Gotta love that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta really love that. And all in all, man, I think a lot of my frustration, in all seriousness, it comes from that feeling of helplessness in America. Like, as a black person, you know, I know we want, like, you know, because black people, you know, y'all real, you know, faithful and religious, and y'all got hope and faith and all these things. I don't know why. You know, I'm glad you do, because it would be anarchy, I believe. If everyone thought like me, it'd be just freaking anarchy. But I feel helpless, man. I feel helpless, man. When you talk about 64% of the country white, and we sitting here with our little 13%, like the Hispanics outnumber us. And for some reason, man, people still feel like we can make a difference in things. I was watching Viceland the other day, and they was actually breaking down what and how gerrymandering makes your votes. When people start talking about, you gotta vote, it makes your votes irrelevant. Gerrymandering being how they redraw district lines to maximize the votes for one side versus the other. Dude, they were on the campus of North Carolina A&T University, right? Dude was standing on the street, and he said, this street right here on campus they've redistrict where the campus is, to the point where he was pointing at the library. He said that is a different district than where we're standing right now. It was literally 20 feet away. So basically, it cuts votes in half. Because you can assume that most people on a historically black college are going to vote one way. Whichever way it is, they're going to vote one way. But if you cut it in half, you make them irrelevant. And that is the system that we, you know what I'm saying? We reside in that system. And so many of y'all are banging on me because I don't vote. But I ask you the question, do you understand what is going on? The people who get in office are the people they want there. Barack Obama, man, was a beautiful anomaly, man. You know why? It wasn't because of your black ass. It was white women. The same ones who put Donald Trump in office. White women swung both of these elections. White women. Not your black ass. When you saw what's the boy's name? Jesse Jackson, opened them crying and all that. And they was throwing parties in Africa and all that. It all looked good. It looked like we finally did it. You ain't do a damn thing with your 13%. And it ain't even really a whole 13%. Because that's the amount of the population we take up. But that don't put in consideration the cast that's incarcerated, which is a lot that look like me. The cats who've been incarcerated and have lost their rights to be Americans because of that incarceration. Something that also leads back to slavery. Look at the documentary 13th if you don't believe me. You become a prisoner, you're no longer an American anymore. You can't get public assistance. You know what I mean? You can't vote no more in a lot of places. Come on, man. Again, it ain't about being woke, man. It's just about asking questions, man, and trying to find the best answers you can get, man. Instead of just going by what your forefathers told you, because they went with the information that they had at the time. We got to be able to vote to change things. That's what they thought. And then when white people said, they caught on to us. They changed the rules to the game, man. Plain and simple. They just changed the rules to the game, and we're refusing to change with them. You remember still in the street marching. This ain't 1965 no more. No one's appalled by that. There are no fire hoses or Doberman pinchers out there after your ass. Now, there's some crazy ass white boys running people now with cars, but you saw the reaction to that was because it was a white girl that caught the brick. 2 white boys in a helicopter accident. Those black kids that got beat up by those same racist white boys, those Nazi white boys, yeah, you heard crickets. I ain't telling you what I think, man. I'm just telling you what I know. Let's take a break, man, and get my man Matt Lutovsky on. I hope he ain't listening, man, because I like Matt. Matt's a white cat, man. I hope he ain't listening right now. I'm like, oh, God. What am I getting myself into? No, I'm playing, man. Matt's my guy, man. So we're going to take a break. Get Matt on the line. 404-902-8104. If you want to get your fantasy football lineup questions in for my man Matt Lutovsky of the Sporting News, you want to do so right this very minute. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show, man. Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Tune in, and of course, OneMic.com.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem even I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. Over 17 million kids in America may not know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in 5 children. Yet billions of pounds of surplus food produced right here in America just get thrown out every year. That's more than enough to feed every last hungry child. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids before it goes to waste. But they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank by going to feedingamerica.org. Together we can knock out hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different. One Mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Pump tape.
No doubt. Oh, no doubt, man. We on over this hump, man. 1 hour down, 1 to go here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Heard live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Tune in, OneMic.com. Also on demand on all 4 of those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube, and you can catch the live video stream going on right now and forever on my Facebook page at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. It is hump day. It is Wednesday. So you know what that means, man. We got to get everybody ready for another week of fantasy football. It's week 4 now, man. As I welcome in from the Sporting News, he's at M. Lutovsky on Twitter. My man Matt Lutovsky, my fantasy football expert.
It's time to talk fantasy football.
Let's have some fun. Let's go.
It's time to get those lineups set.
Enzo caught. Touchdown. Yeah! Yes, sir.
With Matt Lutovsky of Sporting News.
Put him on the board. Championship.
On One Mic with Big Mike.
Matt, what up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Good, man. How'd you do last week?
Last week was looking okay, and then Derek Carr happened.
Oh,
and, it did not end well. Nice little 3-point loss because Derek Carr couldn't get 10 points.
Good God!
So that was a rough one. That was a rough one for a lot of people with pretty much anyone on the Raiders, I think.
Yeah, I endured, man.
It was not fun to watch.
I had Michael Crabtree, but I endured, man, because I had Todd Gurley go on Thursday. So that kind of, you know what I'm saying, made up the difference for me.
That helped.
Look, hey, dude, I wanted to talk about this in the first segment, but I got caught up talking about this Anthem stuff. Do you watch This Is Us, that show?
I don't, no.
Oh, my God.
I'm missing out?
Oh, yeah, man. It's powerful stuff, man. Like, if I was a dude that, like, cried about stuff, like, that I see on TV or movies, it would be one of those things, man. Whoever writes that for that show or who developed that show, it's awesome, man. Like, we found out last night, spoiler alert for everyone, how the dad died, man. It was like jaw-dropping, man. It has nothing to do with fantasy football, but, you know.
Well, look, fantasy football will make you cry, too. Like I said, I felt like breaking down in tears watching that game on Sunday night, so.
All right, let's start with our waiver pickups for this year, for this week. Who are the hot waiver pickups this week in the fantasy for what is it, week 4 fantasy football?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot. This is really kind of a down week. I
Yeah.
think the number one guy everyone's picking up is Wendell Smallwood from the Eagles, which is kind of funny because he doesn't even, have a guaranteed path to a starting job. He's going to be involved. I think we know that. And we saw LeGarrette Blount get 0 carries in week 2. So we kind of think that, Smallwood's going to, be the receiving back, plus could get as many, if not more, carries, and so on and so forth. But he's a pretty weak top waiver claim when that's the kind of guy who's at the top of the list. I think, another guy that needs to be picked up is Brandon Oliver. Melvin Gordon's back up in L.A. now, almost at San Diego. Because, Melvin Gordon didn't play hardly at all in the second half. He's got a nagging knee issue.
Yeah.
He says he's fine. He's going to start this week. But I still think that's an issue, and that's a situation where you still want the handcuff. Anytime a starting running back is dealing with an injury like that. Kind of a similar situation, actually, with Miami and Jay Ajayi, where if you have him, you really should have Damian Williams just to be safe. And then you have your usual, some wide receivers popped up, guys like Paul Richardson, maybe Seth Roberts if this Crabtree chest injury is serious, and you got some tight ends here or there. But for the most part, pretty down week, and not a lot going on the waiver wire.
Yeah, the voice that you're hearing is Matt Lutovsky of the Sporting News. He's my fantasy football expert. At M Lutovsky is his personal Twitter. What's the other Twitter? Because I forgot to write it down last week. Forgive me.
Oh,
Matt.
it's just at SN_fantasy. That's the Sporting News fantasy account.
There we go. At SN_fantasy. Now, you mentioned LeGarrette Blount. Now, he had a bounce back last week, and now Darren Sproles, in the most unfortunate thing I probably have ever heard of, broke his arm and tore his ACL on the same damn play. That, I have to assume, that raises LeGarrette Blount's value, right?
I mean, it should, but, look, he shouldn't need a Darren Sproles injury to have value. That's the funny thing, and that's kind of what we thought in week 1. And then, sure enough, week 2 he barely plays. And last week he was involved early, even when Sproles was playing. But yeah, it's just a major worry with him. I think he's a major headache. He's got to be in the doghouse to some extent. He's certainly talented enough where he can right the ship and be good. But man, I don't know. Week to week, I think that's going to be a mess. To be perfectly honest with you, I think the best back they have is the rookie Corey Clement, who scored a touchdown. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but he's sort of a scat back. And, maybe he can't handle a low, 15 carries a game or anything like that, but he consistently looked the best in preseason. And I think he's going to be a threat to Smallwood's playing time. People think he might just come in and be the receiving back. I think Clement's going to have something to say about that. But, that Eagles running back situation, there's some bad ones out there, but that's the Giants is the worst, and I think it will always be the worst. But, above them, the Eagles aren't that far ahead.
Dang it. Outside of the usual suspects, man, give me some guys who got like these juicy matchups this week that if you got them, you got to start them.
Well, I think, people should be back on the Bengals after those first bad 2 weeks. They looked at least like a competent, a functional NFL offense last week. This week they get the Browns. I think Joe Mixon, the new offensive coordinator really highlighted Joe Mixon last week. I think this could be a breakout for him, even though the Browns' running defense has actually been decent this year. But, it's only 3 games. So I really like him. Obviously A.J. Green has got to be started too. I think you look at the Arizona Cardinals. I think against the Niners, they got a lot of guys that I feel good about. All those receivers, you don't know which one it's going to be after Fitzgerald, whether it's going to be J.J. Nelson, John Brown if he's back. But I do think I like them. I like Carson Palmer this week, actually.
Okay, he's my quarterback.
If you have Derek Carr against the Broncos or Matthew Stafford against the Vikings, I'd rather play Carson Palmer there, and he's available on a fair amount of waiver wires. So those are certainly good ones. I like the Cowboys players against the Rams. I think they're really going to come through. I think the game in London this week's just going to be a mess, and not a mess the same way last week was, but a mess where both teams are just putting up yards and points. So I think Saints guys and Dolphins guys look real good to me. I know a lot of people are probably nervous about Dolphins after last week, where they all just basically laid an egg against the Jets, except for Devontae Parker getting that garbage time touchdown. But I do like them as a bounce back this week, and I think you can play Mark Ingram this week too, even though that running back situation is just annoying every week. And Willie Snead coming back is really interesting because I think he'll be fine, but how does that affect Kobe Fleener, and how does that affect Brandon Coleman, who's scored in consecutive weeks? I'm not sure, but I would feel safe playing Willie Snead this week.
Who do we want to avoid, man? Who has the craziest matchups that if you can avoid them, you got to just go ahead and sit them down?
I mean, you got to go to the Raiders, and look, it's probably going to be an overreaction because of how bad they looked in a nationally televised game last week.
Mm-hmm.
But you go play the Broncos, that's not going to be good for anyone. Even though statistically the Broncos really haven't been that good against the pass anyway. But I'm still not really trusting Marshawn Lynch. I don't feel good about Amari Cooper. I don't really like any of those guys. I think the Colts, they had their week in the sun playing the Browns at home. Now they go up to Seattle. That one, it's funny. Seattle actually is giving up the most yards per carry. So Frank Gore isn't a bad play, even though he tends to rely on touchdowns.
But isn't that kind of inflated, though, because of that DeMarco Murray run? Those explosive runs kind of inflate that a little bit?
Well, I mean, it's been all year. I mean, Carlos Hyde roasted him too, and week one wasn't great. The Packers didn't really run that much on them, but I mean, 2 straight weeks of them getting run on, and that's a worry, I think. So I actually could see playing Frank Gore, but T.Y. Hilton, I wouldn't play him. Jack Doyle, I wouldn't play him. So those are some tough ones. I think the Lions too. I don't know if I can really suggest any Lions players, with the possible exception of Golden Tate, just because he gets so many catches. But, going into Minnesota is never easy for anyone either.
And, of course, and by the way, we're talking with Matt Lutovsky right now of the Sporting News. He's our fantasy football expert here on the One Mike with Big Mike show. Follow him on Twitter at @MLutovsky, or you can get your fantasy football questions in that you don't get in to my show at @SN_fantasy. Is that what it is? See, I didn't write it.
That's correct.
Give me your sleepers for this week.
It's a weird week. It really is. It's tough because I look at a lot of these matchups, and there's a lot of guys who, like I mentioned, Smallwood. I think Will Fuller may be coming back this week. These are guys people just picked up. They're excited about. Some of them got good matchups, but I don't know if I trust them. It just feels like this might not be the week yet. I want to see one more thing. I already mentioned some of those good matchups. I do like those Cardinals guys. Like I said, I think Chris Johnson. He didn't do anything on Monday, but he dominated the carries. So I think he could definitely be a guy that kind of breaks out. I think for me, the sleepers this week, there's a lot of tight ends I think are kind of interesting, like a guy like Tyler Kroft, who plays for the Bengals, who's replacing Tyler Eifert. I just think any matchup against the Browns for a tight end, Jack Doyle let us down last week. I don't see them keeping a tight end out of the end zone 2 weeks in a row. So there could be some situations like that where you can see some of those undervalued guys, underrated guys really pay off. I think the Ravens running backs struggled last week when a lot of people like Buck Allen especially, but I think that they're going to get held down again, basically.
Talk to me about Tariq Cohen while we're talking along those lines. He's a guy who I picked up after week 1, and he's had some productivity, but I'm scared. You know what I mean? I'm afraid to put him in my starting lineup. Should I continue to be cautious with him?
No, I mean, look, I think a lot of people are in the same boat, especially people who have Jordan Howard. And, the thing I say about last week, obviously Jordan Howard had a huge game, but if Tariq Owen had half a size smaller shoe, he would have had a bigger game, because that would have been a touchdown, and then Jordan Howard wouldn't have gotten that second touchdown. So I think that they're still running pretty close to neck and neck. Okay. I think Howard's a better player. I think he should have more value, and will probably bear that out over the course of the season. But I think you look at this week, a Packers game where you kind of look at the narrative of what could happen, and you think, okay, they could fall behind big in this game. That second half's going to be dump-off central to Cohen. So this is going to be a weird week. I have both of them, and I'm strongly considering starting both of them.
Wow.
Because I'm sick of picking the wrong one. I've done it 2 times this year. I picked the wrong one.
Yeah,
so I don't want to do it again. So there's going to be some points there to be had, and it's figuring out who.
So tempting. So tempting. Speaking of the Thursday night game, of course, we got, like you mentioned, Tariq Cohen. You got Jordan Howard. Of course, Jordy Nelson. Hopefully they're going to have Randall Cobb back. And of course, A-Rod is going to be in the building as well. Anybody else that people maybe should be looking at? Maybe Ty Montgomery maybe in that game starting?
Yeah, I mean, Ty Montgomery should be started. I think the biggest question about that game, though, comes down to Martellus Bennett. People were really excited about him before the season. I wasn't. I said, look, I've been through that. I've been through that with Packers tight ends for, 5 straight years. There's Jared Cook, whether it's, Richard Rodgers, whoever it is. People try to tell me, Jermichael Finley, he at least had one good year, but people try to tell me these Packers tight ends, I just think they don't throw to tight ends enough, and they have too many of them. Last week it was Lance Kendricks. So Martellus Bennett this week, it looks good on paper. He might come through. I mean, it's tight end. I mean, anyone could come through in any given week. It's such a tough position. But, to me, there's probably some guys out there who might be better starts than him that you might be able to find. Maybe even a guy like Julius Thomas. He hasn't done anything this year either, but I like that matchup against the Saints. I can see him coming through in that one. I think also Safarian Jenkins is a really intriguing play, too, against the Jaguars, who've had some problems with tight ends. So there's other guys out there if you don't feel comfortable with Bennett.
Let's talk injuries real quick. You mentioned some earlier, man. Guys like Melvin Gordon. I mentioned Darren Sproles, Doug Baldwin, Michael Crabtree. Kelvin Benjamin, another one of my wide receivers, had a knee situation that ended up not being too serious. Give me some of the trickle down, some of the implications that are going to come from some of these injuries.
Yeah, well, I think with Benjamin and Baldwin, it doesn't sound like Benjamin's going to play. Baldwin, jury's still out. But they're real interesting because their teams have really good matchups, right?
Right.
So Devin Funchess, who got 10 targets last week, and he didn't get it done against the Saints, so I think people are kind of, they're really off Cam Newton in that offense as a whole. But I like this matchup against the Patriots. I think there's going to be a lot of garbage time throws and yards to be had, and I think Devin Funchess can come through. And in Seattle, if Doug Baldwin can't play, I really think Paul Richardson and Tyler Lockett are very interesting, specifically Richardson. He scored twice in a row. Last week was garbage time, but still counts. And I really see him being a guy who could potentially break out. He should really already be on people's radars. And if Baldwin's out, I think it's just going to be all the more targets for him. And Crabtree's out. Seth Roberts, I think, is interesting. I just don't like him this week against the Broncos. So that might be, he might need a more serious injury to really step up. But those guys are all sort of on the radar, I think, at the very least. Absolutely.
Got a couple more things before we get to the for the lineup questions. He's Matt Lutovsky of the Sporting News at M Lutovsky or at SN_fantasy if you want to get him some of your fantasy questions after the show. Give me your read on Deshaun Watson as a fantasy quarterback after what he did last week going against the Patriots, who we know that defense from week one. We saw that defense is not stellar, but for a young quarterback, he put up some nice fantasy numbers. Is he a guy who, if need be, because I got a guy like Carson Palmer, so if I want to kind of switch him out based on matchup, see a guy that you can see me hanging my hat on?
I think he's a top backup. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
I think there's still enough good starters that most weeks, you can find someone better.
So wait till the bye weeks.
Well, yeah, exactly. Bye weeks are coming up, and like I said, this week, Derek Carr, Matthew Stafford. There's always going to be a couple good quarterbacks who have really tough matchups. And he's a dude, when he has a good matchup like he does this week, could easily be in that top 12 range. I'd probably start him over Stafford or Carr this week. So I like him. He's shifty. He runs. He's doing a lot of running, actually, and not going down easily, and really padding those stats with those rushing numbers, which we always talk about that with these running quarterbacks. It just gives them a higher floor. I don't think he's going to put up 50-plus rushing yards every week, like I think he's averaging right now. But, if he can even come close to that, that's like an extra passing touchdown a game that you just go into the week with when you could try to compare him to, say, like a Trevor Siemian or someone else like that who might be another streaming option, Andy Dalton, something like that. Well, he's going in already one up on all of them with a touchdown, essentially. So I like him. He's probably a guy that should be on people's teams as a backup. And I think DeShone Kizer is not that far behind either. He plays on a worse team, doesn't have the same weapons, but he's kind of doing some similar things. Sort of a poor man's version, but nonetheless a guy that in a good matchup can maybe be played.
You talk about running quarterbacks. Is it time to give up on Cam and Russell Wilson? Time to go ahead and give up, shelf them.
I mean, Wilson just had a monster game. I'm still fine with him. I still, he sort of does this to a certain extent. They seem to always have a slow start, then round into form. Cam, though, is a big worry. He doesn't look right, doesn't look healthy, doesn't look enthused. Lost his top two targets, at least Greg Olsen for a long time, maybe Kelvin Benjamin for a while. Couldn't get it done at home against the Saints. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, buddy.
So I do think this week there's potential there against the Patriots to put up numbers, even if Carolina loses the game. But I don't know. It's really starting to look bad for him and for that team in general. So this will be an interesting week to see what they got in the tank.
Give me a read on Chris Thompson, man. I had a nice little game last week, couple of good catches out the backfield. What's your read on him?
Yeah, I mean, he keeps getting it done. He keeps scoring these touchdowns, but the Redskins keep saying we don't really want to give him that many more touches. Last week, I think he had like 14, and that's a lot for him. Usually he's going to be in single digits. And in fantasy, when a guy is single-digit touch guy, and 3 of them are runs that are going to go for 4 yards, I don't know. It's tough to trust him. PPR league's great because he's going to get those catches. You're fine with him there. He's obviously explosive, but they're really worried about him getting injured, I think for good reason. His injury track record, speaks for itself. It's not good, dating all the way back to college. But, yeah, it'd be nice to see him touch the ball more. But there's a lot of diminishing returns. At a certain point, he'll probably get hurt. So you don't even know what to root for to some degree. But, I like him. He's explosive. He's kind of taken that mantle from, Danny Woodhead and Theo Riddick and Darren Sproles as the top receiving back in football.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to these matchup questions. All right, well, the first one already. Yeah, because you're saying you don't think Kelvin Benjamin is going to play at New England. So if I'm giving you Blunt at the Chargers or Kelvin Benjamin at New England for the flex, I guess you go with Blunt, right?
I think you got to, even if Benjamin's active. I don't know if you can really count on him to be out there much and to perform at the level he normally does. And then when you factor in that he hasn't been doing anything anyway, really, and neither is the Panthers' offense, it seems like an unnecessary risk.
Yeah. Another Panther here. Okay, Tariq Cohen tomorrow night against Green Bay, or Christian McCaffrey at New England. You talk about possibly a lot of garbage time stuff. Christian McCaffrey,
right? That's a good one. I would go McCaffrey there very slightly. I think they're very similar. The outlook for both is very similar. Mm-hmm. You're kind of banking on garbage time for both. I just think that McCaffrey is a guy that the Panthers are determined to get the ball to. And, look, the Bears are too with Cohen, it certainly seems like. But there's a chance that McCaffrey gets more, for lack of a better term, meaningful carries, where I think Jordan Howard's always going to be that hammer for the Bears. They give Cohen carries, but Howard's definitely going to be that hammer. Jonathan Stewart, kind of similar, but I could see McCaffrey getting some more meaningful carries, and that to me gives him a very, very slight edge.
All right, we got Tyreek Hill versus the Redskins, or Deshaun Jackson going against those New York Giants.
Yeah, I mean, they're both good, but to me, Tyreek Hill is pretty much a must-start every week. There's very few guys as explosive as him who get as many targets as he does, and you can always, there's really no wide receivers you can bank on getting 3 carries a game. And it doesn't sound like much, and maybe it's only 15 yards, but that's still something that most other receivers aren't getting, that extra 1.5 points, whatever it is. And then when you look at his upside and potential to break any play into a long touchdown, that's going to give him the edge.
What was his deal that last week? He went off limping. Was those just cramps?
Yeah, I think so. To my knowledge, he's not seriously injured. We'll know more, obviously, after the next day or two of when they really start ramping up practices, because there's always some surprises on that injury report come Friday. But hopefully he's good to go.
Got Dak Prescott here after a pretty good game on Monday versus the Rams, or same game, Jared Goff against Dallas.
Yeah, look, Goff's been solid. That offense looks pretty solid. I think they have a good offensive coach. They got some weapons now. They're using them right. But the bottom line is they're not as good as they looked against the 49ers. The 49ers are always going to make teams probably look better than they are, offenses anyway. So I think you got to go Dak there. He's just a safer play, high upside, high floor. You got to like him in this matchup. Sidebar
in this game, you mentioned them not being as good as they've been looking. I feel the same way because I've got Todd Gurley. Should I be trying to kind of unload him in some sort of trade right now?
Well, I got to be real careful with Todd Gurley because, he did me wrong last year, so I have a bias. And it's eerily reminiscent of my situation with Melvin Gordon 2 years ago.
That's the same thing I'm thinking about.
And I was telling everyone last year, sell this guy high, come on. And he just kept scoring every week. And you look at him this year, he's scoring every week again. So I think Gurley's talented, I think without question. And the fact that he's used the way he is in the receiving game, which is kind of similar to Gordon too. He had that going for him too. I think is going to give him a pretty good floor most weeks. I'm not sold he's like going to be a top running back, but look, it doesn't take much to be a top 10 running back. So maybe he's not top 3, but he could easily be top 10 or 12. And that's going to be a guy you want to have on your team because he gets a really high volume. So I probably wouldn't trade him just yet. But, look, if someone came to me with Antonio Brown, I'd trade him. But if someone's trying to come at me with like a wide receiver 2 type, a pretty good but not great, like Larry Fitzgerald, I'm probably going to hold on to the running back in that case.
Absolutely. A couple minutes left here with my man Matt Lutovsky from the Sporting News. I always appreciate him taking the time out on a Wednesday to get me and you guys straight with our fantasy football situation. Follow him on Twitter at mlutovsky, Lutovsky, or at SN_fantasy. Mohamed Sanu versus those Buffalo Bills, or Marvin Jones at the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Sanu is one of these guys, I very rarely recommend him just because I think that's Falcons offense. I don't think he's that good. You always think Julio and the running backs are gonna be the ones that do work, but I do think this week I'd play him over Marvin Jones. I don't like that. I don't like that matchup for the Lions. And Jones is really hit or miss. They have other options there, and obviously Sanu is an option one, but he's been pretty good this year. I probably deserves more credit than I give him, so I would play him over Jones.
Yeah, I released Marvin Jones a couple of weeks ago, probably after week 1. And the final question, Big Ben at Baltimore. Now, Big Ben struggles on the road, man. He's got one of those crazy road home split type situations going on. Or whoever this guy that they're dressing up as Alex Smith versus the Washington Redskins. I don't believe that's him. I think it's a clone.
It's crazy. Like it seems like it'd be crazy to say play Alex Smith. And I'm gonna say stick with Big Ben. I know the splits. I know that the matchup's tough, but I just feel like you got to go with the guy who's got the weapons he has, and eventually the Steelers are going to figure it out and get it together. And look, Blake Bortles roasted the Ravens last week, so if he can do it, Ben Roethlisberger certainly can do it.
That's the
baseline. I'd rather go down swinging with Big Ben than with Alex Smith.
There it is, man. Matt Lutovsky, as always, bringing some great stuff that I got to come back and listen to after the show so I can get my lineup straight for tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. Appreciate it all, as always, my man, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, sounds good.
Make sure you follow my guy, man, on Twitter, at Lutovsky, Lutovsky, or at SN_fantasy if you got any more fantasy questions, any late lineup changes that you want to get some information on, man. This is my guy, man. He got you locked on that situation. All right, so what time is it? Okay, we got a couple minutes left in this segment. I can set up the next segment. What we're going to talk about the NCAA hoes, man. They're in it a little bit. Not even necessarily them. Some schools in particular got into some seedy dealings with sneaker companies giving money to certain individuals in order to have these players, one, steered towards certain universities, and then, after the fact, steered back towards the sneaker companies if that particular player ends up going pro. For most of us who keep an eye out on these type of things, doesn't seem like that big of a stretch, that much of a leap to see this kind of stuff happening. The thing is now, though, this is not one of those situations where we're talking about sanctions or people getting banners taken down or wins vacated or, games suspended. Nah, it's going to be some cats going to the pokey, man. This ain't no NCAA investigation. This the Fed. You know what I mean? This the Fed. They got wiretaps. They got undercovers doing money drops. They got folks, recordings of people and paper trails and all kind of stuff, man. And some of the names of these cats who have been arrested. You hear what I'm saying? Arrested. The names. Guys like Chuck Persons, the Rifleman. He was an assistant coach over there at Auburn, man, with oh, no, you know what I almost said? I almost said with Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson's at Alabama. Sorry about that, Avery. Anyway, 10 men were arrested. Emmanuel Richardson of Arizona, Chuck Persons, Lamont Evans of Oklahoma State, Tony Bland of USC. Lynn Swan is the AD out there. They hired a former FBI agent to do one of those, like, we're going to investigate ourselves type things out there. So that's happening. Jim Gatto, the director of Adidas Global Sports Marketing, Mary Code. This is spelled M-E-R-I, Mary, or maybe it's Mary. It sounds like I said the same thing. He left Nike for Adidas. Well, that seemed to be a mistake. Which, you know what? When you hear that too, understand this. Like I mentioned earlier when my man I Am No Dose brought it up in the chat room. By the way, you guys can join them in there by clicking that little thought bubble icon you see if you're listening via Spreaker or the Spreaker app or my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. You'll see a little thought bubble icon. Click on that. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room. The fact that this guy was at Nike, then went to Adidas, this can't be like a one shoe company type thing that's going on, man. Like none of these things happen in a vacuum that way. So Under Armour, Nike, Adidas, anybody rocking anything else? Ain't nobody rocking like no damn Reebok or nothing like that. No, ain't nobody rocking that. The three big dogs, you got to pretty much assume that they're all in competition with one another. Christian Dawkins, a former NBA agent, recently fired from ASM Sports. I think they raided ASM Sports. Like they went through that like dope was getting sold. You feel me? Jonathan Brad Augustine, the president of the League Initiative, director of an Adidas-sponsored program. Moonish sued a financial advisor. All these cats have been arrested. Not under investigation, not under surveillance. They have been arrested. This is the Fed, you know what I'm saying? And what's about to start happening is, because the way the whole thing kicked off, another dude got arrested, and he was like, "Oh, hold on, before you bring these charges on my head, I got something you really gonna want to hear." So he started singing, and now the other thing that's about to start happening is these guys who already got arrested, probably the best thing for them is they got arrested early in the game. You know what I mean? So they can go ahead and start chirping and singing like little birds. We'll come back on the other side of a break and really get into it, man. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app. Also, tune in, and, of course, the OneMicWithBigMike.com website.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
In the U.S., about 90 people die in motor vehicle crashes each day, and thousands more are injured, resulting in hundreds of millions of dollars in direct medical costs each year. 1 in 3 crash deaths involves drunk driving, almost 1 in 3 involves speeding, and half of those who died were not buckled up. Even though we've made progress in the U.S., other high-income countries have lower motor vehicle crash death rates. We can and must do better. Here's what you can do. Use a seatbelt in every seat on every trip, no matter how short. Make sure children are always properly buckled in the back seat, in a car seat, booster seat, or seatbelt, whichever is appropriate for their age, height, and weight. Never drive while impaired by alcohol or drugs, and help others do the same. Obey speed limits, and drive without distractions. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital signs.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
Hump Day!
We over that thing now, man. We on over the hump. Appreciate y'all joining me, man. Don't forget, the One Mic with Big Mike show is always available. Every day, all day. On demand, man. Spreaker.com. Spreaker.com. Going over there, man. Sign up for your free Spreaker account and follow One Mic with Big Mike. That way you'll get an alert every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when the show goes live. Spreaker also has an app, so make sure you download that for your mobile device. Of course, the TuneIn app, I'm popping there as well. And my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and my YouTube page. Subscribe to the YouTube page. I got to get cleaned up and do something with it, but, you know, I got to find some interns eventually to get that straight from me. And also make sure you like the Facebook page at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the same handle. You can still get your comments and questions and criticisms in on the show, 404-902-8104. Or via the live interactive chat room, or by leaving your comments and questions below the live streaming video here on Facebook. Last segment left off talking about, kind of introing this controversy that's going on in the NCAA. I'm going to see if I can get my man Steve Silver on the line from the Legal Blitz. get him on the line on Friday, so we can try to get into the nuts and bolts and into the guts of what all this stuff means and really what's happening. Because on the outside of things, me being me, I look at this stuff as, okay, now it's a Fed case where these kids, black kids, start getting a piece of this pie. Every time some of these kids start getting some of this money, heads got to roll. Now the money that was getting funneled through these assistant coaches is said to have been going and paying to the one kid in particular at the University of Louisville. We'll talk about Rick Pitino here in a second. Got $100,000. Well, he and his family got $100,000. Not a bad day's work if you can get it. And I always have I find no moral ground to judge when these kids start getting money, man. When I look at the billions that are being made off their backs, man, basketball, football, when they start getting some of this money, I'm good. You know what I mean? Problem is, in this case, in most cases, people try to make things seem like they're illegal when they're against when they violate NCAA rules. This time it really is. It's a real legal issue now, and it's going to be a problem for some folks. Now, I mentioned Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino got put on paid administrative leave today because of what has gone on his campus in regards to this. I just mentioned this kid allegedly got $100,000 for, as a recruit. I don't know if he signed with Louisville. I know a couple of kids actually decommitted. I guess the money ain't gonna come no more, so they are, I want to go to Lexington. Let's go up the street and holler at John Calipari, which is always so ironic to me, man. Like all this stuff that Rick Pitino, and he write these self-help books and all this kind of stuff, all this stuff that he's been into, people love looking at Cal as the dude that's all grimy and skeevy and cheating. He probably is, but not on this level, man. He ain't banging the wives of his assistants on the table in the restaurant and extortion and got, hookers and hoes, entertaining recruits on campus, and like that stuff ain't happening. And if it is, at the very least, you could say Cal know how to, cover his doodle up better than Petrino. You feel me? Like this dude here, he is the epitome of what white privilege in this country looks like. He just, like, can you imagine, like, if Tubby Smith was banging some broad on the damn table of a restaurant, being extorted and all this kind of stuff? Come on, B. Ain't no way. But your man, Pretty Ricky, who's not pretty at all, was able to skate. And he's still trying to skate on this, on the whole. These dudes kill me, man. All these emperor-like coaches on these college campuses, these Rick Pitinos and these Nick Sabans and these what's my man's name from Syracuse, and Roy Williams. When the ish hits the fan, everybody get amnesia. Everybody get blind and like, I don't know, I ain't know what's going on. I'm appalled and I'm shocked. But any other time, you want people to know, you want people to feel like you got your thumb on everything. And no nothing happen, no nothing move unless you say so. You can't have it both ways, homie. That's why his ass going to be out of job now, man. Like at this point, this is the same school that hired Bobby Petrino twice. You feel me? Like they gonna always be the ones to be like, we want to win games though. But now you got the Fed coming through. I got this article here, man. Like so far about the stuff that you need to know about this investigation so far. Like I said, I'm gonna reach out to my man Steve Silverman and see if he got some time for me on Friday, so we can really get an intelligent and intellectual take on this whole situation, because he's a guy who despises the NCAA holes as much as I do. So Tuesday morning, the FBI revealed, they've been running a 2-year investigation into nefarious and illegal schemes of fraud and corruption throughout college basketball. Wait, what? For only 2 years? That seems like it should be the motto of college sports. You know what I'm saying? Illegal schemes of fraud and corruption right here at the NCAA holes. But as I mentioned, man, these cats gonna go to the pokey, man. You know what I'm saying? They talk about these money men who were linked up with assistants to funnel players to schools with specific ties to shoe companies, in this case being Adidas so far. Cash was exchanged when money managers and advisors wound up secretly funneling cash to the families of high school recruits. And I heard somebody today talk about how they did it in a way to try to keep the university out of it. So the plausible deniability thing may be something that like the university president could use. The AD, well, the AD got put on paid administrative leave at Louisville as well. But some of these higher ranking people can probably use some sort of plausible deniability. The head coach, though, you're going to have a little bit more of a problem, I feel. Or you should at least. You know what I mean? The first scheme was to get assistant coaches to lure players to a specific college program. The second scheme was to get the money to the families of those players. The goal was for the player to have an allegiance to the shoe company, in this case Adidas, after he left college. And like I mentioned before, a snitch. You know what I mean? Some dude trying to save his own ass. He was unidentified, a financial advisor. He was charged in 2016 by the SEC with fraud and became a cooperating witness, because that's what you do. These button-up suit, blue-collar dudes ain't trying to go to the pokey. Crazy, especially when they got dirt on somebody else. He informed the FBI as a means of cooperation that he could bring light to fraud and corruption in the world of college recruiting, because the said witness had been party to it in the past. They probably used his ass as a damn informant, put the camera on his ass and had him making calls and everything else. Apparently, these payments, they range anywhere from $13,000 to $100,000. I mentioned $100,000 going to the kid that was a recruit of Louisville. They got these cats on tape, hundreds of conversations recorded. They got coaches accepting bribe money in person from undercover agents, and they got tapes of those coaches speaking on being party to the illegal schemes. These dudes was messy as hell, dude. And I guess it's one of them things, if you doing it long enough, man, you feel like you ain't gonna get caught. And like I mentioned, you think they got one snitch now? Nah, they got 10. And they always talk about, like in the movies, right? The dude that speaks first get the sweetest deal. And I know these cats trying to stay their ass out that bank. They ain't trying to go nowhere near them damn 3 hots in the cars. Woo! Shout out to these dudes, man. So, like I say, man, this ain't over. They've had a 2-year investigation going on, and it's gonna get deeper, and the net is gonna go wider. We're gonna start hearing about football in this situation. You already know, man. Under Armour just dropped like $200-something million on UCLA, man. And these coaches is getting rich as hell. And this is what we talk about. This is what I was talking about, man. They use these kids, man, as walking billboards. You know what I'm saying? Can't none of these kids go out on the basketball court. If you play for Louisville, you can't go out on no basketball court with no Jordans on. You can't even wear them around campus in your personal life. That's just how serious it is, man. But the only dude getting paid $2.3 million out of his $7 million salary, highest paid coach in college basketball. The only dude getting the money off of that is Rick Pitino. They say, man, this is a precursor to change. That's what they say. I don't know if this is enough, though. I don't know that a couple dudes going to jail, that they'll try to write them off as rogue individuals. I don't know if that's enough, man, to make this greedy, exploitative situation go away. I want y'all to hear something, man. I want you to hear one of the dudes who love to talk about, the guys who are doing it the right way, and he has this real ridiculous ass image of college sports. I want you to listen to a child who was just told that Santa Claus wasn't real.
I was crushed today. Crushed when I heard the story today with the FBI making charges against 4 assistant coaches, people involved, agents, shoe companies, etc., illegally. Well, let's say this. They're certainly innocent until proven guilty. But having the FBI involved and not the NCAA is a different story. This is criminal charges. And what breaks my heart, there's a cesspool that's existing in college basketball and on the scholastic level. Think about it. We have players gaining eligibility, all of a sudden reclassified and becoming unbelievable Rhodes Scholars. We have scenarios in the AAU competition. The stories are unbelievable, how these AAU situations are out of hand.
Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
It's a dead giveaway. Where the hell has he been for the last 80 years? Dude, like, this just let you know, man, these cats running around here with their head in the sand, man. This ain't new. Man, Sonny Vaccaro was on outside the lines earlier today. He was like, man, I started this whole thing with $5,000, putting $5,000 in Jerry Tarkanian's pocket in 1978. You know what I'm saying? I started this whole thing with these shoe companies, man. I know how dirty and skeevy it is. Meanwhile, Dick Vitale, what? There's no Easter Bunny? No, Dick, there's not. everything that you thought once was a farce. You know what I'm saying? They exploiting kids and white people are getting filthy, stinking rich off of them and can't get rich enough. Subsequently, these coaches, by the way, that I mentioned earlier, they bruz. You know, Chuck Person and them cats, they bruz. The four coaches are bruz. And it made me feel a certain way about this, man, because I don't. And maybe we'll get to the legal stuff on Friday, like I mentioned, man, and I can get a clear understanding of why it's a Fed case. You know what I mean? That they took money and gave it to the families of the kids of kids with the intent of steering them to a school and then possibly then steering them to the shoe company. As an endorser later on in life, once they leave school, I want to find out why that's a thing, why it's a Fed thing, what laws are being broken in these cases, man. Because to me, it's the redistribution of wealth, man. You know what I mean? Somebody gonna get the money. Rick Pitino was getting it. He's getting $2.3 million worth of it. Somebody's getting the loot. Why not the kid? Why not the kid's family? Maybe that's my narrow-mindedness speaking, you know, because I don't have the full scope of what exactly this whole situation is. But we'll find out. You know, I'll definitely try to get my man from the Legal Blitz on the show on Friday. I'll work on that as soon as we're done with this show today. But yeah, there's more to come. You know what I mean? There's more to come. All that greed and all that stuff that's come out of this damn you know what, too? And somebody mentioned that today on Outside the Lines, too. Because the question was asked, would the Fed go after the families who received the money? And the answer was, thank you, I am no those, by the way, that right now, they're not going after the families. They're looking at them as victims of the situation. But he is right. You're right, I am no those. The question was also asked about the IRS. This money being passed under the table and being like money laundering was one of the other things. I am no those in the chat room bringing up racketeering. Like these type of charges are, you know, it's like mafia stuff, dude. It's like Al Capone type stuff. Like I can't wait. I love when Steve Silver comes on the show, man, because he brings a much more intelligent element to the show, especially in situations like this where you kind of got to get a little deep into it to really have a clear understanding of what the hell is going on. But to me, being the N-word that I am, I'm just like, that kid deserves it. He probably ain't played a minute of basketball in the NCAA, but who cares? He deserves it. You know what I mean? Couple things just to clear the plate before we get out of here for today. Did y'all see this thing about Ric Flair? Ric Flair said he banged 10,000 broads in his life. I didn't do the math on it because I believe it was done before with Wilt Chamberlain saying the same thing, banged 10,000 broads, and it rendered itself kind of impossible to do. You know, even if you're doing like multiple chicks at the same time, it was just like one of those numbers that 10,000 sounds like a number, but it's when you're talking about banging chicks, that's way too many. You know, for somebody to be able to do in a lifetime. And Ron Jeremy, famed porn star, like one of the few people who's actually a porn star. You know, that's one of my pet peeves in life. Like every dude and broad that bangs a chick or dude that bangs somebody on a video, they're a porn actor or a porn performer. There's certain people who have elevated themselves out of just that realm into being a porn star. People who are, you know, the Jenna Jamesons of the world. People who are known in just regular walking around life, like Ron Jeremy. Everybody know who Ron Jeremy is, right? just any regular person, just because you was on a porn video on Pornhub or whatever, you're not a porn star. You're not a star. Anyway, Ron Jeremy's a legitimate porn star. He said Ric Flair's telling a damn lie. You can't bang 10,000 broads. And as a dude who I believe probably had an opportunity to bang 10,000 broads, because it was his job. If he couldn't do it, I'm more apt to believe him than a dude that most definitely got CTE. No doubt that Nature Boy got all kind of tau proteins in his brain. Speaking of CTE, here's something that's weird that happened today. Didn't happen today, but I read it today that they may be able to in the next 5 years determine if living people, because right now chronic traumatic encephalopathy can only be determined or what's the word I'm looking for? Diagnosed in people posthumously after they're dead. At Boston University, they're saying that they may be able to find a way to do that while a person's living. Researchers at Boston University have discovered a method that may allow them to diagnose CTE in living patients. The researchers studied the brains of 91 different living subjects, including 23 former college and professional football players, 50 non-athletes who have Alzheimer's disease, and 18 non-athletes with Alzheimer's. Damn, I lost my place. Sorry. Okay, the football players in the study had a heightened level of CCL11, a particular biomarker of CTE. It made me ask myself the question, man, like if let's say I'm Jameis Winston, you know what I mean? Do I even want to know while I'm embarking upon, I'm at the beginning of what could be a very, very promising football career? Do I even want to know, especially if they don't have any treatments for it or a cure or any way to stop it or reverse it or any of these things? By the way, I told you guys this maybe months ago. This might have been during the Sports Kings days. Marijuana, the weed, cannabis, has certain cannabinoids in it that help the brain heal from concussive blows. Just Google it. # Google it. But unless they have an approved, I guess we're talking about the NFL, approved way of treating it, do I even want to know? Probably before I'm dead, I want to know, but not. I don't think any current players would be like, yeah, go ahead and test me. I want to know, because at that point you looking at like, okay, if I already have CTE, Larry Johnson, former Penn State running back, former Kansas City Chief. I think Larry ended up playing for the Redskins as well. He says he knows that he's walking around with CTE right now. Now, I don't know if my man is like planning on doing something wild, crazy, and just setting up the lie in advance. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I told y'all I had CTE. I told y'all in words I was crazy. But on some serious stuff, man, my man probably finds himself, forgetting where he's at, memory loss and things like that, depression, mood swings and things of that nature, man. And because of the information that's been afforded on the particular subject, man, guys are probably going to be a lot more apt to start self-diagnosing themselves, man. And if they're saying now where you can possibly find out beforehand, man, if your brain is turning into mush, God. You know how we are as guys too, man. It's the reason we don't go to the doctor as much as we should, because we feel like once they tell us, these things are happening, our minds are going to start having our bodies react to what they said is happening to us. You know what I mean? Like you find out you got some disease today that you've had for like the last 5 years, but you find out today and you're dead in 6 months from it. You know what I mean? Because you found out today. Is the way we think a lot of times as men. Probably shouldn't, but yeah, is what it is. I got a couple minutes to get into this D Wade thing. D Wade is a Cleveland Cavalier, man. And LeBron said one of the most illest things today, like something that everybody can relate to. That's pretty awesome. He was like, it's like the first day of school when you walk into class and then you see your man is in the same class and he done saved you a seat in the back. I'm like, yep, turn up. You know what I mean? When he said that, I was like, yeah, that, I can't front on that. Like when you got a homie like that's that, it don't even really matter if Dwayne Wade ain't good at basketball no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your man, 100 grand. And y'all about to do crazy stuff, man. It's what it is. Like, he ain't got to be the Dwayne Wade of old anymore, man. But LeBron is his man. And he was like, yeah, you can see like the genuine smile on his face. Like, yeah, man, it's like walking in class. And then you see your homies in the same dude. It's like, yep, this going to be the class right here. I hear him say that and I'm like, yeah, everybody in life, cuz, can relate to that. I think that's it, man. Yeah, that's it. It's going to be interesting to see what that team looks like, though. And shout out to them. Shout out to D Wade for not going to Oklahoma City. Nothing against them, of course. Shout out to him for not. There was a rumor that the the Golden State Warriors were going to make a run at him. Shout out to him for not doing that, because here's the thing, man. The East, as it's set up right now, 2-team race. I think we can agree on that, right? Boston and the Cavs. The odds are a lot higher than you have to deal with. Golden State, Houston. The Clippers ain't gonna be good no more, probably, since Chris Paul is gone. But you got Oklahoma City. You got the upstart Timberwolves. Can't forget about them. That's 4 teams right there. The Trailblazers will probably be in the mix somewhere because they got Dame Lillard and C.J. McCullough. It's a hard road to hoe, man, in that West. Out this way, dude, I saw the Atlanta Hawks starting lineup, media day picture. I was like, my God. It was like Dennis Schroeder and freaking Tayshaun. What's that boy's name? Not Tayshaun Prince. What's that boy's name? I don't even know. Kent Bazemore. I was like, ugh. And then the story came out, they cheered and threw a party damn near because Dwight Howard got traded. Of course they did. Everybody thought I was an idiot. I said Dwight Howard coming home is the worst thing in history. That team don't play to have no stagnant ass big man. Nobody really does anymore. You know what I'm saying? Look what's going on in New Orleans. They got 2 of the most versatile, huge individuals in life with Boogie Cousins and Ant Davis. That is not Patrick Ewing. Neither one of those dudes are Patrick Ewing, man. Those dudes are aliens, cuz. Go to Philadelphia. The point guard and the center are the same size. How? Now you mean tell me, and both of them, by the way, are bigger than Dwight Howard. Or it's the same size. I think Ben Simmons is 7 foot now. The dude grew 3 or 4 inches while he was hurt. And Dwight Howard want to post up. Yeah, miss me with the craziness. And apparently Carmelo is going to play power forward. Did y'all see the reporter who asked Carmelo if he was going to be comfortable coming off the bench? That was awkward. You know what I'm saying? Like, he asked the question, and it felt like it took Carmelo like 5 seconds to process it. He said, would you be comfortable playing power forward or this or that, and maybe even coming off the bench? And then he kept answering the question, and Carmelo was like, wait, who, me? Come off the bench? MF, I'm mellow, and I got my hoodie on right now. Respect it. It's going to do it, man. The Hump Day edition of the One Mic with Big Mike show is over. Over. Okay, play the whole drop. It's over, man. Appreciate y'all for joining me, man. Everybody who checked in, my folk on Facebook. I did the stream via the personal page today to see what was popping with that. It's cool, you know what I mean? What it is. I got to get out of Facebook jail tomorrow at 6:54, so I'll be back on the show page on Friday, man. Hopefully, my man Mike Silver. I'm looking for an NFL guest as well to join me, so I might do 2 guests on Friday. Let's see what else I need to make sure I mention before I get out of here. Nothing. That's it, man. Y'all be safe. Appreciate y'all holding me down here on a Wednesday. Remember, all you need is one mic.